So we're in a yoga teacher training module this weekend, and one of the primary focuses for the students, excuse me for the loud noise, one of the primary focuses has been learning about the gunas. The gunas, and those are tamas, rajas, and sattva. They're also called the energy patterns of nature. And in yoga, we say that certain things have specific sort of gunas, like foods can have a rajasic, tamasic, or sattvic quality. Animals can be tamasic, rajasic, or sattvic. And also our moods, our temperaments, our speech can be rajasic, tamasic, or sattvic. So we have these qualities. These qualities are in nature. And it helps to know what is sattvic, so you can choose to interact more often with sattva, because it's the guna that promotes our most clear heart and clear mind. It's helpful to know what causes or is rajasic, because then you can decide from your wisest self, when do you want to interact with something rajasic? For example, caffeine causes more rajas. The internet and such stimulation like this causes more rajas, like Facebook, news, internet, scrolling, shopping on the internet, that causes more rajas. And then what is tamasic, and what's going to help you understand tamas, things like overeating and then feeling exhausted, oversleeping and actually feeling tired, things that cause you to feel lethargic are considered tamasic. So knowing these things, then we get to make choices to the best of our ability. There's a lot more to say about these gunas, but I'm going to stop there so we can go into practice and try to feel it within the physical body, also within your mind, in the mental body. So please take a comfortable seat. Whoops. That's okay, you knocked it off the shelf. We'll get it later. There's always an adventure when you have kittens. Okay, so taking a comfortable seat, we want to feel the gunas as in the physical body, in the mind body, but also in the heart body. So the annamaya kosha, the manomaya kosha, and then the indwelling heart, the ananda. So rest your hands in your lap and close your eyes. Or just bring your gaze kind of inward and downward towards your heart. And appreciate yourself for having the actions and the foresight to make it to class. So the actions to come here, you had to use your rajas to move towards sattva, the experience you have when you practice yoga. Now arriving here and taking your seat, we call this sattva. You get to sit here, but your tamas is what keeps you grounded here. So invite your mind to settle. Imagine the settling of the other minds that are in the Zoom room. So we could have a sense that together we become more grounded. It may help for your tamas, your grounding, if you actually put your mind right on the sensations of you connecting to your seat. And then imagine those sensations also going deeper, like they can go into the earth. As if you had imaginary taproots that were taking you down into the stability of the ground beneath you. And maybe you have 5 or 6 places where you're connected to the ground, so you get to have 5 or 6 taproots. From that descending, so tamas is a descending energy, Now we also want the ascending. So start to lengthen inwardly up through your spine. You can imagine that as upwards through the spine, the actual structure of the spine, but also upwards through the chakras. Let's also imagine that this ascending quality is kind of ascending towards the parts of you that have a more clear view, that are able to maintain perspective and context. The part of you that has an inner wisdom into which you can tap whenever you need to. So Rajas has a rising or ascending quality, though many times we are using our Rajas horizontally. And what that means is in daily life, we become scattered and we do the thing like the over shopping, the over stimulus of Facebook, the excess stimulus of getting news or getting information, and we swirl ourselves. So that's called horizontal Rajas. And then bring your attention to sattva and think of that as the most expansive of the gunas. It is that which reminds you of your indwelling essence and the essence in everything and everyone. As when climbing a mountain, the higher the elevation, the wider the view. And sattva is like the higher elevations of our capacity, so we see a wider perspective. And please bring your hands together at your heart. And we'll chant Asatoma Satgamaya. Let's begin. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. And with your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. And release your hands. And please open your eyes. We're going to come to a quadruped series. So I'm going to shift to my other camera. You can come to your table pose when you're ready to. And please pad your knees if you know that your knees would benefit from that padding. I have to put the kitten on the floor. Excuse me for a moment. Hi, honey. Down. Down. There you go. Okay, so this quadruped, all fours. And a blanket for the knees if you know that you would benefit from that. So we're going to be doing, when we go between something like tamas and rajas, we're going to balance those two things. And then we'll pause and see what sattva you have been able to elicit. So in this table pose, let's inhale to cat and go inward with your attention, and with your breath, go into the back hemisphere of your body. And now keeping your table pose stable, so both hands and your left knee can root down. When you next exhale, bring your right knee up towards your nose. And then inhale, place your right knee back into cat pose. Exhale, left knee towards your nose. Inhale to cat. Exhale, right knee in towards your nose. So you're consolidating your attention and your physical energy. Inhale to cat. And this consolidating is called tamas. Exhale, left knee in towards your nose. Inhale to cat pose. And now exhale backwards to child's pose. And inhale, roll forward through cat to cow pose. And exhale, roll backwards, child's pose. Inhale, undulate through cat on your way to cow. Exhale, backwards, child's pose. Inhale, undulate forward, cat becomes cow. One more time, exhale back, child's pose. So this movement is more rajas because we're actually moving. Now let's inhale to cat pose again. And exhale, bring your right knee and your left elbow together. Inhale, cat. Exhale, left knee, right elbow. Inhale, cat. Left knee, right elbow. Right knee, left elbow. Inhale, cat. Exhale, left knee, right elbow. Inhale, cat pose. So that was consolidating. Now exhale, reach back, child's pose. Stretch your arms out in front of you. Inhale, roll through cat to cow, raise your right arm. Exhale, back to child's pose. Inhale, cat to cow, raise your left arm. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, cat to cow, raise your right arm and your left leg. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, cat to cow, left arm, right leg. Exhale, child's pose. Once more, inhale, undulate, cat to cow, left leg, right arm. Child's pose. Undulate, come forward, left arm, right leg. And child's pose. Walk your hands back towards your knees. Take a block to sit on and come to Vadrasana like this. And let the tamas and rajas give way. Each one can now surrender to sattva. So sit really still. Your stillness is benefited from your tamas. Rise upwards, that's rajas. Imagine your mind more like the vista on a mountain. And then come over to table pose. I have a little student here. This table pose is going to be for also one-legged downward dog pose. So check the space behind you that you have the room that you're going to need. Okay, table pose. Place your hands near the front of your yoga mat. Gaze down between your thumbs. And make the mind more tamas, more stable. So keep your eyes focused there at the spot between your thumbs. Inhale, take only your right leg back towards plank pose. And then exhale, squeeze your left knee up between your elbows, one-legged plank pose. And inhale, reach high, left leg up, Ekapada, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And exhale, forward, left knee to your chest, plank pose, gaze between your thumbs. Inhale, left leg high, Ekapada, Adho Mukha Svanasana, gaze past your right heel. Inhale, as you come forward, glide your eyes on the floor to arrive at the steady spot between your thumbs. Inhale, left leg, Ekapada. Glide your eyes back past your right heel. And exhale, touch your left foot down, Adho Mukha Svanasana, both feet, both hands. And then exhale, glide forward, put your gaze between your thumbs, plank pose. On the in-breath, strengthen your left leg and your knowledge of where your left toes are. And then exhale, hug your right knee up between your arms. Inhale, glide back, Ekapada, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, glide forward, trace your eyes really smoothly on the line that brings them to the spot between your thumbs. Inhale, glide back, Ekapada, right leg high. And once more, exhale, glide forward, tracing your eyes slowly and smoothly to arrive between your thumbs. Now inhale, plank pose. And exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Gaze back between your toes and your heels. Now in this downward dog pose, we bring together the elements of tamas, stability, and rajas, energy. But quiet the eyes so your tamas and rajas support your sattva, your clarity. Invite your mind to travel nowhere else, only to be here in the present. And then inhale, glide forward, plank. Place your eyes between your thumbs. Touch your knees down. Reach for your block and come to Vadrasana. Kneeling. Acknowledge the properties of tamas, that which stabilizes you. The qualities of rajas, that which energizes and motivates you. The quality of sattva, that which can be more expansive, more clear. And see if you can sense those things, those qualities moving through you. Feel into the possibility that those qualities are larger than you, expressing themselves through you. And when the qualities are in balance, we can see ourselves more clearly. Now we'll come over to plank pose on our way to the sun salutation. So Place your hands at the top of your mat, table. Put your block aside. Press down into both hands, both arms, broaden the back of your body. This time take your left foot back to plank pose first. Now inhale, right foot, plank pose. So plank pose by itself would be considered tamasic if you were coming down from, let's say, rock climbing or bicycle racing or something very active. This would be a pose of tamas, of stability. If you are coming from a long sleep, this pose would require you to be motivated. Some rajas would be necessary. So breathing in. Now rise up to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog pose. And then inhale, raise your left leg, Ekapada, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So that adds rajas to your downward dog pose. It brightens the pose. It causes an upward reach. So reach from your heart to your left heel, from your heart to all 8 fingerprints and both thumbprints. And then exhale, left foot forward between your hands. So having your hands and your feet on the floor, even if you're using blocks for your hands, this is more tamasic, more stable. Now inhale, arms wide. You've just added some rajas. Now exhale, rise up. You've added more rajas, more motivation. Gaze up. And even as you then hang out here, we'll do about 4 or 5 breath cycles. Can you find the balance of tamas? Your stability relies on your mind right now and also your legs and your breath. By its nature, the pose has rajas. Listen for where your mind can tap into the sattva. And now exhale, sweep your arms wide, glide your eyes slowly to come back down to your left big toe. Touch the floor with all 10 fingers and step backwards, downward facing dog pose. Gaze back between your feet for a moment and steady your gaze so your mind is more steady. Then inhale, raise your right leg high, Ekapada, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So this adds rajas to your pose. And breathing in, keep both arms strong, but especially your right arm. And then exhale and bring your right foot forward between your hands. Notice at this moment, the pose that we're going to, this is more tamasic right here. Inhale the arms wide, a little bit more rajasic. Exhale, rise up, root down to rise up, gaze up. So if you frame your practice as, this practice helps me to balance the gunas, what you focus on in your poses does change. So establish the tamas, it's in the legs, also in the consistency of your breath and the stability of your mind. When you're reaching up, know why you're reaching up. What is it for aspiration or inspiration? To what are you reaching? And then ask again if your mind might be able to tap into like the sattvic airways. And now exhale, arms wide, float your gaze down slowly. You're going to arrive at the right big toe. And inhale, left foot forward, heart forward. And exhale for a deep bow towards your legs. Inhale, arms wide, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Bring your gaze down to your fingertips. And for a moment, close your eyes. Notice your body temperature, your heart rate, maybe even the tingle of the body. So you can feel all three gunas are moving through you. They are you, and you are them. Energize your toes, your feet, your heels, your calves and knees, thighs and hips. Notice what happens when you make the lower hemisphere of your body more stable with the energy of the muscles supporting your bones. Now lengthen inside where your spine is, and as you next inhale, sweep your hands down, wide and up. Exhale, chair pose. So yoga would ask us to be thoughtful in terms of rajas. What are we reaching towards? What is the aspiration or the inspiration? What is the motivation? Keep your gaze down between your big toes for the moment and take another deep breath in. And then exhale and bow over your thighs, lightly touch the floor, gaze back between your heels and beyond as you come into Uttanasana, a pose of humility. To what are we bowing? To what do we surrender? And then exhale, bend your knees and start bringing your eyes between your toes, your big toes. Inhale, raise your arms without raising your eyes. You can ask, to what are you reaching? What is your aspiration or your inspiration? And then root down, and as you rise up, trace your eyes along the floor, along the wall, up towards the ceiling and between your hands. And then exhale, hands to your heart. What do you hope to bring back home to your heart as a result of reaching, rising, aspiring? And one more time. Inhale, arms up. Energize your lower body. Lift inwardly through your spine. Exhale, come down to chair pose. Trace your eyes on the wall, the floor, and down between your toes. In this reaching, which you express from your hips, through your spine, to your heart, to your arms, spread your fingers and your thumbs and give full energy to the reach by keeping your mind quiet, your eyes grounded on the floor. And then exhale and release down. Glide your eyes back between your heels, touch the floor as you come into Uttanasana, a gesture of bowing. Gaze back past your heels. Consider the qualities of humility or surrender. With your next exhale, bend your knees, returning your lower body to chair pose. Place your gaze between your toes. Inhale, raise up through your arms, but not your eyes. Now pressing down, rise up slowly, travel with your eyes along the floor, travel up the wall, up towards the ceiling between your hands. And then exhale your hands down to your heart, asking again, what are you going to bring back home into your heart? After humility or surrender, motivation, what comes back home to the heart? Now we're going to put the Sun Salutation on blocks. You'll need 2 blocks. Place them so that your feet are going to be hip distance apart. You can step up onto your blocks. I'll change my camera as well. For this weekend in yoga teacher training, the students are also, they're sort of designing sequences and ideas and trying to connect yoga philosophy, yoga life skills, themes, the physical body, the practices. So step up onto your blocks, please. You'll have a sense of where we're going. If you've been in class with me before, you probably know where we're going to some extent right now. Only put your blocks on the flat setting, please. I don't trust you to stand on the medium setting block. I don't know that that block is stable enough that way. Okay, thank you. I don't want to see you crashing in the Zoom window. Okay, join your hands together, please. So putting it together, we have motivation, surrender, and what comes back home to the heart as a result of that. So inhale, root down, sweep your arms wide, rise up. This lifting is rajas, gaze up. Exhale, chair pose. So chair pose is a consolidating pose, but it also requires this reach. So it has this tamas and rajas together. Now shift your weight into your right leg only and pick up your left knee like Karate Kid. And then step your left toes back, right arm back, touch the left toes down, rise up, crescent lunge. Now, as you gaze up, we're going to stay long enough that you get to put the pieces together. So tamas, or stability, you need that right now from your left toes, your left leg muscles, the zipping up of the pubic bone towards the belly button. You also need your right foot, right toes, right arch, the right leg muscles, right outer hip, pelvic floor. And then rajas, let's picture that coming through the mid-torso, up through your heart. It's your circulation, it's your heat, it's your respiration. And as you gaze up, steady your eyes between your thumbs at some invisible spot between them. And see if your mind can tap into the sattvic airwaves. And now as you exhale, float your arms wide. You bow over your right leg. Here's a big step. You're going to inhale, step forward to this Karate Kid position. So sweep the arms down and forward. And then exhale, place your left foot, return to chair pose on both legs. Inhale, rise up, upward hands pose. And exhale, bring your hands down to your heart. What are you bringing with you? From the elevation on the mountain that is sattva, what are you bringing back down to install into your heart? The second side. Inhale. Chair pose. Put your weight into your left leg more than your right. And Karate Kid, lift your right knee. As you bring it up, think of inhale. And then left arm down, right leg back. This is your exhale. Touch the right toes down behind you. And inhale, rise up. Crescent lunge. And look for your balance, the same foundational pieces as the first side, though reversing left to right. So right toes, right thigh, left foot, left leg, the center of the pelvis. As you're reaching upwards, my sincere hope is that that rajas, that inner motivation, it's not like a huge pounding effort from you. It's a sense of aspiration or inspiration or courage, willingness. And raise your gaze up between your two thumbs and ask if your mind might be able to feel into those sort of sattvic airways. It's a wider view. And now exhale, arms wide. Come halfway down, just about halfway down. You're going to sweep the arms forward as you step forward, and that is an inhale. Karate Kid pose. And then place your right foot, chair pose, exhale. Inhale, rise up. And now exhale, arms wide, heart wide. And bring your hands together so your gaze meets your fingertips. Now step backwards to mountain pose. With the arms dangle too. So there's a surrender. The arms can let go. You're welcome to close your eyes if you like. And notice again, there's body temperature, heart rate, respiration, all these things happening on your behalf. Your body's cleansing right now. And feel that indwelling process working within you on your behalf. The Gunas are in you. You are of them, and they are of you. Notice the places where you feel solid or steady right now. The places where you feel energy, motivation. Any place of clarity, expansiveness. In response to this, how might you want to cultivate at least awareness of the gunas in your daily life? If it were to help you feel more clear, more motivated, and more grounded, what would you be willing to do? And please come down to the floor with your 2 blocks. Take the 2 blocks like this, like a little diamond, to sit on. And come to Badakanasana. In your Badakanasana, up on the 2 blocks, my hope is that you actually do feel some of those bony landmarks, the backside of your thigh bone, part of your sitting bones. And we're going to come forward to Badakanasana. There is a massage happening at the back of each thigh. Let's call that a massage. You can ask yourself, does this pose feel more like it has more rajas or more tamas? In relationship to where we came from in your sequence, is it more rajas or more tamas? More energizing or more grounding? And walk your hands back towards your ankles, please. Rise up to sitting. Now you're sitting in Badakanasana, and as you slowly bring the knees up, you're going to end up sitting like a little bit between the beveled edges of the blocks. So right now you're probably sitting on at least one painful spot. Just telling it like it is. So what your sitting bones are right inside those blocks right now, and that means that the trochanter, if you lean back, you'll feel the mushy spot, the muscle spot between the sitting bone and the trochanter. So the sitting bone is that oval shaped thing at the base of the ilium, has a little hole in it. And then sitting bone is the part you're sitting just inside the block. And then just outside that is the thigh bones themselves. So please roll back slightly and pick up both knees and feet. Yes, it might be tender. And then roll the toes down, sit up, reach forward. Good. Roll back. So you're upright, knees together, lean back, fingers on the floor. And then roll, toes, heels, open the knees, reach forward. And then rolling back, knees in, toes up, fingers on the floor behind you. Yes, you are massaging something tender, and if it's awful, I recommend that you put blankets on your blocks, but not so many blankets that it feels unstable. But you don't want it to be excruciating, and this does get better, by the way. One more time. And then return to Badakanasana. And notice any difference in your Badakanasana, having released some of those tension spots at the back of the pelvis. When you notice any differences there, maybe the pose is more easeful, maybe it's not, maybe you have more sensation, whatever you're noticing. See if you can feel into the aspect of you that notices. How you witness, how you observe. That same witness that right now sees your feet in Badakanasana and has seen your feet in your flip-flops or on the swing set. And place your hands on your ankles. Rise up to sitting. Now these two blocks, we can set them aside. To do that, roll to your left, put the block under your right hand medium, roll to your right, put the other block, and then touch your hips down. And please sit in Siddhasana. And see if there's anything about this position that might feel more grounded as a result of where you've just been. Take your time to notice if, even structurally speaking, does the physical body feel more tamas in the lower hemisphere? Is it easier to feel your connection down to the earth? And the inner motivation of rising upwards, ascending, is balanced by descending, and descending is balanced by ascending. And inwardly, you can sort of bow your mind to your heart, that place of homecoming that we had during parts of the practice. We're going to take these two blocks with one more little sequence. I won't do a long one because we're going to come to Shavasana, but this is to help you set the legs into Shavasana. So turn on the long side of your mat if you're not there now. You have your two blocks. Put them on the flat setting like this. Pick up your hips and just put the blocks under the trochanter bones. So what's going to happen there is when you set your hips in, make a slight angle so the blocks are angled towards the tailbone. So when you pick up your hips here, you're actually resting on the beveled edge of the block at the back of the trochanter. And float the knees up so they're just maybe vertical to your hips. Doesn't have to be closer than that. And imagine the sacrum relaxing between these 2 points, almost a little bit like as if you had a hammock. Invite the lumbar spine to also soften down towards the floor. The sacrum can't reach the floor because of the blocks, but see if you can invite this feeling of melting the pelvis onto the blocks, the sacrum down between the valley of the blocks, and the lower spine towards the blocks, towards the blanket, excuse me, the mat, sorry. Now, keeping your torso stable, take the toes to the floor, walk them just gently out. And then you pick up the hips just enough to put the blocks now at the outsides of the trochanters. Still a slight tip of the blocks towards the center line of the body. And then take your left leg out, right leg out, and then scooch the blocks until what you have is a very gentle support for your legs to rest in the line between the 2 blocks. So your hips and sacrum come all the way down to the floor now. Take the arms out to the side. Palms face up. Close your eyes. And imagine the legs, especially, and including your hips and pelvis, getting heavier. More tamas, to be more grounded. Allow the mind to keep imagining your legs getting heavier, more tamas. Allow your mind to stay in the deeper grounding of your legs, hips to heels, and heels to hips. Allow the mind to stay rooted in the legs. Invite your mind to be like tamas, very still, very grounded. Your body's integrative process is occurring for you. And not having your mind wander off into horizontal rajas, you let the body take care of you more deeply. Now allowing the mind, the thinking mind, the Ferris wheel mind, and your legs to stay heavy. Bring in your witness, your observer, to notice the energy moving through you. If you were to imagine this energy like a river, what is its quality right now? What are its qualities just now? So your observer or your witness is like the aspect of sattva, and you're observing the energy, the rajas within you. This energy can be subtle, but there's still a vitality, currents of vitality in you. So you can sense those, the presence of that within you. And ask yourself if you more often had a clear mind, a sattvic mind, if the energy in your body felt balanced and available, if your physical sense of grounding or stability occurred more frequently, who might you become? What might your life feel like with that? How would you like to respond to life and to yourself? You can lightly wiggle your fingers and your toes. When you're ready to, please bend one knee at a time. Roll to your right side. And in your own timing, bring yourself up to sit. And come to sadhana if that's comfortable for you. And you can ask yourself just once more if you knew you could balance the gunas in your life more often, how would you make this commitment? And why would you not make it? For us to be the more balanced version of ourselves, it's a benefit to everyone with whom we come into contact. So there's nothing really selfish about it. So life is actually requesting this of us, imploring it of us. You can join your hands together at your heart. And we'll chant Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. So just for the notification, cats and dogs are considered rajasic. But during class, the two kittens became tamasic. They're both resting right now. They're curled up. Mm-hmm. Dogs think of themselves as sattvic, of course. Cats may feel the same. Okay, thank you for your note. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How's everyone feeling? I have a lot of sun coming through right now.